Hello everyone, welcome to my channel SBK Questioning. This video is the first video in our series of Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad's Cashflow Quadrant. Initially in this video we will see how one behaves in a certain quadrant and what problems one encounters there. And at the end we will see an example of how to start a business without having money for capital. For those who are starting to gain knowledge about financial freedom, Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, is the best place to start. This book provides life-changing financial knowledge. This book is the second part of the book. If you would like to see a summary of the book, there is a link in the description. This book, Rich Dad's Cashflow Quadrant, is the blueprint to financial freedom. Plenty of people have read the first book, but they missed out on the second one. I consider this book to be my favorite. Among the both books, this one provides a profound knowledge about cash flow. However, understanding the first book renders this book more interesting. Prior to summarizing our first lesson, if you are new to my channel and haven't subscribed to it yet, kindly subscribe and hit the bell icon to receive notification of my new videos. Through this channel, we will discuss the financial issues and strive to turn them into opportunities to achieve financial freedom. You might have already watched the briefing about the different quadrants in my introductory video. However, that was only the tip of the iceberg. We will explore this further in this video. Author divides all peoples in 4 quadrants as per the ways they generate a cash flow. The quadrants are A for employed, S for small businesses or self-employed, B for big businesses, and I for investors. Regardless of the profession, the quadrant is how you generate the cash flow. Everyone can operate from any of these quadrants. For example, a doctor who works for a hospital comes in the A quadrant, as he is an employee of that hospital. But if he starts his own clinic, he comes in the S quadrant. If he opens the hospital and hires other doctors to work, and MBA to manage the business, he is operating in the B quadrant. And if he starts investing money to make more money, he operates from the I quadrant. You can make money in all 4 quadrants, yet each quadrant requires different technical skills, soft skills, and mindsets. Each quadrant has its pros and cons. For instance, our friend John works as a salaried employee. His job provides him job security and other benefits, such as paid vacation, insurance plan, pension plan, and so forth. Besides, John prefers to keep everything written down on the paper as he finds it more secure. In a nutshell, a secure job is more important to John over financial freedom. To generate more money, he must work hard and be promoted up to a higher position, but with the promotion, the workload also intensifies. In addition, he needs to pay more income tax on his hard-earned salary. Thus, he will sacrifice lots of time for a slight increase in salary. In this quadrant, there is only one way to save taxes, and that is to buy a big house and get into heavy debt. It's like being on the horns of a dilemma. Either you have to choose high taxes or the high debt. It's like someone says, "Hey, you made 1000 euros. That's great, but you have to give me 500 euros because you make 1000 euros by working very hard. By the way, if you want to give me only 250 euros, then take the 2000 euros debt from me and pay me little monthly interest on it." And as a reply, we will say, "Yes, that's a great deal." Does that sound foolish to you too? Well, yes, it is. But that's what people usually do. To save a little tax, they buy a big house. Now instead of income tax, they have a mortgage. On top of that, they have property taxes and maintenance costs hanging over them. Welcome to the money trap. In short, you work for an income. Income comes with the taxes. To save taxes, you take the debt. To pay the debt, you work. And this cycle keeps going on. Right side people called it a rat race, where one runs a lot but reaches nowhere. Well, our John is too smart for this trap. So, he will say, "I am not gonna work this hard just to pay the government more taxes. I will start my own business." And fleeing from an 8-hour job, he creates a 12-hour job for himself and calls it a business. You might be thinking, how? Because he doesn't know the difference between the B quadrant and the S quadrant. Accidentally, he started a small business in the S quadrant instead of the B quadrant. Or I should say, he created a job for himself. He now runs a small business. He has gained the freedom to work in his own way. Nobody now tells him what to do and how to do it, because he works alone. He has full control over his work now, and only he is responsible for his success or failure. Now John must acquire expertise in his field, and find a unique way to get his work done. This is the way to obtain an advantage over his competition. He will make a lot of money in this quadrant, but he will have to work twice the amount of work in comparison to his previous job. Moreover, as he succeeds, his work will increase immeasurably. For instance, if John succeeds in his business, he will have to take lots of calls, pay bills, make sales calls, try to advertise on a small budget, take care of customers, hire and fire employees, fill in when an employee doesn't show up, talk to the IRAs, deal with government officials, and so on and so forth. He also has to say goodbye to his paid vacation. He will only earn money for the time he works. So no paid vacation or no passive income. People in the S quadrant prefer freedom of work over financial freedom. They believe in doing things their own way. In the first year of his small business, John understood the game and began to transform his company into a big business. He understood that instead of focusing on the product, he needed to create a system. His mindset changed, and he understood that eagles catch no flies. Instead of doing all the little jobs himself, he hired an employee. Someone to answer phones, pay bills, and do administrative work, someone to handle sales and marketing, legal counsel to deal with tax and government officials, and so on. Now John wasn't facing technical problems, he was facing management problems. So he learned leadership skills. There's a book called Stone Soup. It's an amazing book for learning leadership skills. If you want me to do a video of it, write to me in the comment. As his enterprise grows, he has purchased good equipment and machinery and digitalized his entire system. He has also hired a few people, but he has kept that number as low as possible. We can discuss this topic of employee versus machine acquisition mindset later in this channel. Comment below if we should make a video about it or not. Now John has a great deal of free time and a decent income. More than 50% of his profit remains ideally in the bank. So he decided to start investing somewhere. He contacted some investors and started learning about investing. We'll be doing in-depth videos on John's journey of investing. However, there are two things you should keep in mind as an investor. First, people in the I quadrant keep a keen eye on their income and expenses. For example, how much money goes to basic needs versus liabilities, and how much money they make on their income versus their assets. For the vast majority of multi-billionaires, their income from assets exceeds their income from salaries. And to get richer, you need a list of assets greater than liabilities. So when a purchase becomes an asset or liability, if the product you bought generates a positive cash flow or wealth, without you investing additional time in it, it is an asset, and vice versa for liabilities. For example, someone buys a BMW car for his personal use. It is his liability, because he has to take care of expenses from his pocket like insurance, PUC, maintenance and so on. If he starts to rent out his car and make a positive cash flow from it, it is an asset. Instead of a car, one can buy the stocks. That is also an asset because it will increase his wealth from time to time. Anyway, I'm not saying that you should buy any shares without any research, it was just an example. And second, the I quadrant is the quadrant of risk. Because of the shift of the industrial age to the information age, government's retirement plan and other securities have been cancelled mostly. And that's why many people from the left side of the cash flow quadrant started trying to be an investor without changing their mindset. They still think about security. They focus more on return of investment over return on investment. And their fear makes the market more unstable. They diversify their portfolio so much that the risk to return on investment ratio is very bad. It's like they are playing football with the rules of basketball. So be aware of the game's rules you are playing. Now, let's recap our video. There are 4 different types of cash flow quadrant. In the A quadrant, John works for someone. In the S quadrant, John works for himself. In the B quadrant, other people work for John. In the I quadrant, John's invested money works for John. Now let's say how John's journey can be optimized. John is an IT engineer. He works as a full-time employee in a big company. He was bored of his job, and he wanted to start his business. As he is working in an IT company, he has a good insight of the IT market, and he decided to start a company to develop games and softwares. Here, he had two ways: do it by himself or hire experts. He has enough financial education to understand how he can start business from others' money, or without any capital at all. He decided his ultimate goal, to have a business in the B quadrant. He knows to do so, the first rule will be to find someone who wants to buy your product before he makes it. He found a small shopkeeper whose business is expanding. John explains to the shopkeeper that with the help of his software, how he can generate more free cash flow. Shopkeeper found it useful and agreed. Shopkeeper gives John an advance. After finding a customer, John started to find a freelancer. He started his search for the freelancer in his contacts as well as on online platforms. He found someone who can deliver him a great product at a reasonable price. He hires him by giving him an advance taken from the shopkeeper. John explains to the freelancer which features he needs in the software. After that, John leaves him alone to do his work, because John knows, the S quadrant people love to work in their own way, and they give results with perfection. If he doesn't give him enough space, he will run away. Meanwhile, he spread the word that he has amazing software. If anyone finds him a customer, they can expect good commission on it. He also posted information and details about his products and the commission online. In a short time, he got many promoters trying to sell his product. And few of them have already sold it. He had delivered the software and paid everyone on time. Everyone was happy. He generated his money from zero, his employee got paid, and his customer got the product. This is a simple story, but it leaves us with the question, what John should do with that earned money? The answers of this question will show your path to financial freedom and your mindset. If you find any problems that John can face in his business, or if you have any idea for John to find more customers and sell products, please write in comment or message me on my Instagram under SBK_questioning. In the next video, we will see the difference between the S type of business and the B type of business in detail, so we don't end up opening the S type of business instead of the B type. More than 80% of people open an S-type business by mistake in the rush of escaping their job. In the meantime, analyze all the small businesses in your area. For example, retailers, carpenters or bakers. And try to figure out how they can create a system that makes money on its own. If you wanna see the summary video of Rich Dad Poor Dad, click the photo on the left side of your screen. And if you wanna know the things to keep in mind before starting a business, then click the photo on the right side of your screen. If you liked my video, then please press the like button. If you did not like any content in the video, then dislike the video and write to me in comment what can be improved. If you have not subscribed to my channel, then do it quickly. I promise that your invested time on my channel will give you a good return. Thank you for giving me your valuable time and see you in the next video.